Hello guys, welcome back. Hope you're doing very well and staying safe. In this session, we'll be continuing our lesson on variable. We'll be looking at a number of ways we can use variable that isn't just the score. In our last tutorial, we created just one variable and that was for score. But in this session, we'll be creating at least 3 variables for different purposes. It will be a simple math game where you'll be asked to add 2 numbers. You enter your answer and the computer will check if it is correct or not. So the first thing you do is to take away the sprites and select the sprite needed. I'll pick every, and then I'll select a suitable background. I'll go for the chalkboard. So every here will be asking us random additional questions and we'll get to provide the answers. Then the computer will check to see if the answers we entered are correct or not. Now the first thing we'll do is to select our events. When this flag is clicked, what we want to happen is for every to ask us a question on addition. Addition is a basic mathematical function and it requires at least 2 numbers to be able to carry out an addition. So we'll be creating variables to provide those 2 numbers, those 2 values that we'll be asked to add. So remember, we'll go back to the variables. I will click on make a variable. We'll create a variable called number1 for the sprites. Okay. This variable named number1 is going to provide the first value that we'll be adding. Then I will go back and create another variable named number2. For the sprites. Okay, so if every is asking a question, the 2 values or the 2 numbers that are going to be present in the question will be provided by this variable here and this one. And since we want every to ask the question in such a way that the numbers that will appear will be random, any number could be provided by this variable and any number could be provided by this variable depending on the range we've set for the both variables. So now if every asks a question, the first value will come from this variable named number1 and the second value in that addition question will come from this variable named number2. So now let's go back to our coding. Because we've created a variable, the first thing we'll do after creating a variable that will be using a value, a numeric value, is to set the variable. And I will set the variable named number1 to 0. I will set the variable named number2 to 0. Now for these variables to actually give us random numbers, we have to tell it to do so. And by that, let's go over to operators. You see this code that says pick random from a range of 1 to 10. We'll select it and attach it here. We'll do the same for number 2. Now this line of code simply means that when this flag is clicked, this variable number1 should be set to any random number between the range of 1 to 10. The same for number 2. We can actually change this range to 1 to 100 and 1 to 20. You can enter any figure that you like. There is no limit to the range. So but for easy calculation, I'll leave the variable number 1 to be set to a range of 1 to 100 and variable number 2 to be set to a range of 1 to 20. Once you've created your variable and you've initialized it, you've set it to a value, the value you want, the next thing we will do is to make every ask the question. So we'll select this code. It says ask what is your name, but what every is going to ask rather is a question that we should add a number from this range to a number from this range. So ask, we'll go back to the operators and select join, the join operator. Okay, so with this join operator, every will be able to ask a question adding a number from this range and this range. So here it will say ask what is the value a random number from this range, from this variable, in addition to a random number within this range from variable number 2. So here we'll pick our join operator again. This join operator actually helps us concatenate words or numbers. If there are so many of them and we want to divide them into bits, then we would use this join operator to add them together. So it will be what is the value of a number from variable number 1 then we'll select our join operator again plus, you literally type in plus, the plus sign, a number from variable number 2. So guys, we wouldn't want this displaying here, so the simple thing to do is to just uncheck these boxes, yeah, and we will not give away our answer even before the game starts. So this is the question every will ask us. Let's click on this flag to see. Yes, what is the value of 98, a number from this range in variable number 1, plus 9, a number within this range from variable number 2. And in here you get to type in your answer. So now the next thing we'll do is to make the computer understand this question that Avery has asked. This question to the computer now is just plain. What we'll do is to create another variable for the question itself, a variable that is going to hold this question, the two values provided by this variable and whatever instruction that comes with that value. In this case it is addition. So we'll come over to variables, click on make a variable, and we'll create a variable called question to be for this sprite only. Okay, so this displaying here, we'll uncheck it, and now this variable called question, we are going to set that variable to what the question actually is. So we'll go to operators, select the addition operator because that is what this game is about. The question is to add two values from these two variables we created initially. So the question is to add a value from variable number 1 and add a value from not variable number 2. So now we've set the question to a value from this, within this range, from variable number 1 to a value in addition to another value within this range from variable number 2. This line of code actually makes the computer understand and retain the question that Avery has asked. Since this number will be changing at, these numbers provided by these two variables will be changing at random, the computer would get to save those random numbers in this variable named question in every round. So for question now, the values are always going to be changing. In the first set, it might be 2 plus 3. Question will save this value 2 plus 3 and retain an answer. Then the next round, it could be 90 plus 19. So this variable question is going to retain whatever question Avery has asked. That is the values coming from these two variables and the instruction coming with it. So now if you have a question, you're going to definitely need an answer. So we'll go over to control to check the correctness of whatever answer we'll provide here. We'll be using the if statement to do that. So if this variable question we've created is equal to what the answer we've provided, then we should be told it is correct. Else we should be told it is wrong. So we have a variable here already created and named answer. This variable automatically stores whatever value we enter here. So there is no need creating another variable for the values that we enter here. It is automatically stored here by the computer. So what we'll do is to go to our operators and take the equality sign. So if our question is equal to the answer, then we should be told it is correct. We'll come over here, take the variable question, insert here, go to sensing, take the variable answer, insert here. If question is equal to answer, then say it is correct. Go to loops, say correct, for a second, else say it is wrong, for 1 second as well. So now let's understand this thing better. If the question from Avery is what is the value of 2 in addition to 4, that is 2 plus 4, and in here we enter 6, 2 plus 4 is actually equal to 6. So 2 plus 4 is the question and 6 is the answer. So in this case, the question is equal to the answer. Avery would then say it is correct. But in that question of 2 plus 4, if we entered 3, Avery will know that the question 2 plus 4 is not equal to 3. Then she will skip correct and say it is wrong. Now let's try this out. So what is the value of 11 in addition to 18? This is 29. And you select enter. You see, she said correct. Now let's try another one again. What is the value of 75 in addition to 10? I'll type in 60. It is wrong, but then let's watch what will happen. I'll hit enter. You see, wrong. So that is what we want Avery to understand. Whatever question Avery asks has been saved in the computer. Then the computer will compare that question to the answer we've given. If the question is equal to the answer, then we are correct. If not, else we are wrong. So another thing we could do is to add sound. We'll come to here, select sound. Over here I've selected a couple of sounds, clapping and the rest of them. So I'll just come here, click on this and select clapping too. If my answer is correct, then every will say it's correct and I'll get a sound of hands clapping. Else, if my question is wrong, I want to get another sound. Yes, the boards. Now let's try that again. What is the value of 32 in addition to 9? That is 41. Enter. Yes, there goes the hand clap. Now let's check for if it is wrong. If my answer is wrong, what is the value of 31 in addition to 6? I'll type in 20. It is wrong. I'll hit 20. I'll still type in 20 and hit enter. Yeah. So you get that sound if your answer is wrong. So in order not to keep clicking on this flag for you to get a different question, what we'll do is to use our control structure to repeat the question a certain number of times we want it. Let's say we get 5 questions at a go. So 5 questions. And let's see how this goes. 53 plus 14, 67. I'll hit enter. So we get another one. 3 plus 5, that is 8. Enter. Question 2 without me clicking on the flag. So question 3, 4 plus 4, 8. I hit enter. Question 4, 19 plus 11, that's 30. Enter. And this last one, 6 plus 6 is 12, but I'm going to fill it and enter 11. Enter. Wrong. So that is our code. We get 5 questions at a go and then it stops and we have to click on the flag for the game to play again. So I'll give you an assignment. Create this game. You can use different sprites, different backgrounds, different range for your values, different name for your variables. But then the task at the end will be to add score. Since we'll get 5 questions or 10, whatever number of times you want it to repeat, create a variable for score and include it in the game, so that by the end of each session of the game it should calculate the total score and then give you what your actual score is. We learned how to use variable in other ways that's just not for the score. We created 3 variables named number 1, number 2 and question, and you've seen the way we implemented the 3 of them, what purpose they actually served in our programming. So code your own game, guys, and then create a variable for score, so that at the end of each game you get the total number of score, the total number of questions you got correctly against the ones you failed. Take care.